My viewers ask me what sort of tools I use for tuning the IF cores of transformers and things. Now, as everyone will tell you, you shouldn't ever adjust an IF transformer with a metal tool, not only because of the inductive effect on the transformer itself, but also run a big risk of cracking the cores. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to certainly on the older sets with the wax sealing, you're supposed to sort of soften the wax. And that's usually achieved, especially on valve radios, by just leaving them on for an hour or so. The wax softens. Or you could use like a low level heat gun just to soften the wax up. And once the cores are moving, all you need is the appropriate tool for the particular transformer. There's a vast array of different transformer designs, and you'll never find that one manufacturer has the same, or any manufacturer has the same tool. This is a list of some of the, or a collection of some of my tools. Some of them are homemade, some of them have been bought in. You start with the basic sort of plastic tool, which is this is a trimmer adjustment for a oscilloscope probe. These are the sort of junk we buy in the UK here. They're ridiculously expensive. They're crappy plastic. They're not very strong. You see here, this one's got a sort of like a screwdriver in a guided sort of hole. Useful if the adjustment's easy to turn. 90% of the time they're not. So we've got a variety of different ones here. You see this one here's actually snapped off, and that's just waiting for a modification by me. We've got these are a bit of a joke, really. They're actually pros kit stuff isn't too bad, but this is the trimmer, but this is an anti-static trimmer, like it really is important on maybe a transistor or valve radio. These are one of the better tools you can buy. I've got a number of these, and these are just available from Radio Spares. They've got a little tiny metal tip on the end there, as you can see that. I don't know if you can see, the camera's having a bit of trouble focusing. Come on. Well, anyway, I think you know what I mean. It's got a little metal tip on the end, and the same on the other end, but it's got the sort of shrouded, like the plastic tool had. You could buy sort of various sort of tools. These aren't too bad. These plastic ones, they don't have to be that strong because they're a hexagonal drive, so they're not a problem. They're worth getting a set of those because they're quite useful, and they come in various different sizes. And I've got a set here. I think I've got a white one as well here somewhere. Where is it? There it is. Yeah. So that was the complete set of those tools. Oh, and a yellow as well. So they're all different sizes. They're well worth buying because they're quite useful. Now this is another one, just a hex tool. It's just someone at work gave me that. One of the most frequent tools I use is this little Radio Spares tool. I don't know what the end's made of. I know it's copper. But this is a great little tool. It does so many different things. I mean, it's great for the screwdriver type slots, but it's also good for some of the cores that are a bit stiff to get them moving. And I actually bought one of those recently. I found on eBay when I was looking for tools, and this is the one. I haven't actually used it much yet, but they're a great little tool. And then we've got various other tools in here. Some of them are scope adjustment tools. Most of those are adjustment tools. Here's one I've cut down to get access to sort of transformers that are sort of close next to another board. So yeah, I mean, you can buy stuff in the UK, but it's most of it's rubbish. And you can buy a few occasional tools that are worth buying. Keep an eye out for these. Highly recommend these, and I highly recommend those. These pro kit ones are good, as are the colour ones. But all these white cheap things, I think they're available from Farnell. Waste of bloody money. Soft, just shear off as soon as you turn anything. This is the other set I bought, and I bought this set when I first started sort of repairing the radios. I bought this from the States, and you can only get them from the US, and they're only available second hand, and they're not cheap. I think I paid about 30 quid for this. But it's basically got absolutely everything you need, including the sort of like the flat bladed screwdriver types, as you can see there. Various different types of tool. Some of them are metal, a lot of them are plastics. This one I think has actually been modified as a plastic flat-ended screwdriver. The other type with a screwdriver handle on. You can see there with the metal shaft, so that's useful. We've even got the some of the different adjustments for the more sort of European style connectors, trimmers, and the typical one that you'll come across probably is the what they call the beehive, the Philips beehive, which is a variable capacitor, and it looks like I haven't actually got one, I don't think, easily available, and it's like a little it looks like an old-fashioned beehive, not the square type beehives but the round type beehives, like the type that Winnie the Pooh used to sort of go and raid, put his hand in. So they got those type, and they're like a small sort of like a 4.5 mil nut on the top, but they've got like a little pigtail at the top as the thread comes out. So you need something with quite a deep socket. I think I've got tools for adjusting those. And we've got various short stumpy ones which are useful. The trouble is with this gear is quite expensive. We've got a metal one here, obviously, for adjusting tools that aren't sensitive to induction and are a bit stiff. This is quite an interesting, quirky little thing. All the colour balance is a bit off because I'm on the orange background, but this is what they call a, where are we? Oh, here we go. Teleturn. I'm going to focus, or are you just going to mess about? Teleturn. So basically what you do is you hold this piece still and you turn the core left and right, and you can keep a track of how many turns you've gone in and how many turns you've gone out. That's great if you're just experimenting to see what something does. You can keep a count on where your position is, which is always very useful if you're having a bit of a twiddle, just to see if you can improve things. So these are recommended, but they are expensive, as I say, and they stink. I don't know if you've ever come across this before, but some of these plastic tools, God, they stink. And it's a bit sort of, it's weird. I hate the smell of them, but I can't resist sticking my nose in them and sniffing the vileness of them. They're sort of like I can't describe it. It's a cross between sort of like, I don't know, urine and plastic. It's a horrible smell, but every time you open them up, you get this strong waft of stink. So these are GC Electronics radio and television alignment tools. Now, if you search on eBay, they're often available, but as I say, if you're in the UK, you have to buy them from the States. So that's the only drawback. The only other tools I can really recommend is sort of things like nut spinners. So I've got a set of nut spinners down here. These are BA. Them sort of not so much useful for adjusting cores, though they will suffice if you need to get them done. You know, they're good for sort of like the British radios, like the hackers and things that use BA nuts and bolts. I've got some other nut spinners here, which is sort of like conventional metric type. I've also got some the old Stanley ones that I bought years ago when I was working on motorbikes, and these are great because they're hollow as well, so you can actually put it, if they've got a nut with a stud on it, they'll actually drive all the way through, so that's always very useful. Also, you need a pair of decent wire cutters, you need a pair of pliers, desoldering pump or whatever you want to use, but possibly just certainly to start off with, a desoldering pump's useful. A pair of precision pliers, as you see here, fine pliers, which is nice. And then it's just basically all the other stuff you need, the soldering irons and things. But this is more or less more about the IF and RF aligning tools